2nd of February, which is just a few days down the road, the world celebrates World Wetlands Day. And this is a significant thing. And that's why tonight we have Wambui with us to help us understand a little bit more about this. So the World Wetlands Day 2025 is focused on wetlands and people. First of all, Wambui, talk to us. Why do wetlands matter?
Thank you so much, and of course for having me here today to speak about matters of environmental importance, social and economic importance as well. And I believe, to start of our conversation, I believe our audience should know what wetlands are.
Yes, please. Because
I think these are resources that people normally come across each and every day, but they don't know what they are. So basically, wetlands are resources that are found when water bodies the water tables are above the surface of the land. And basically, you find there are different categories of wetlands. Some are found in the coastal areas, such as mangrove. You find that there are swamps. We have lakes, we have rivers. And these are all categories of wetlands that we found on a daily basis.
Oh, great. And so can you paint a picture for us of why wetlands are essential to Kenya's environmental, economic, and even the community health?
True. And I think to categorize it in different aspects, we're looking at how do we look at wetlands as an economical value to our country. We've seen wetlands such as Lake Nakuru, Bogoria. They serve as a good tourist sites, and these are sites that normally attract so much tourism. And when you look at the GDP of Kenya at the moment, the economic sector, or rather the tourism sector, it normally has around 5 to 10% of the country's GDP. So you can imagine the tourism sector that the wetlands, of course, are attributing to wetlands, that they bring to the economic value of the country. Yeah. So there's so much that you can be able to see apart from just economic value, but also environmentally. And we've seen that communities, for example, those who live around Ondiri Swamp, for example, it's a wetland.
Or the one in Kikuyu?
Yes. It's normally served as a potential places where communities access water. We have around 60 residents from Kikuyu and even its outskirts, having access to water because of this Ondiri Swamp.
Right.
And beside that, we've seen that there's also a very good opportunities where communities can be able to work around their livelihoods, and we've seen agricultural activities being carried out because Ondiri Swamp is actually being able to serve the communities and also the environment at the same time.
Right. Now, Wambui, across the world, as some of you may know, things are changing. We're losing forests, we're losing wetlands as well. But it looks like wetlands are disappearing faster, 3 times faster than the forests. Can you help us understand what the situation is in Kenya? Are we winning or losing the battle to protect our wetlands?
Well, maybe just to give a statistic of the number of wetlands we have in Kenya and then be able to see the trajectory of where we're headed to. Right now, currently, we have 10,000 wetlands in Kenya, and only 6 of those wetlands have been recognized under the Ramsar Convention of Wetlands, which was adopted back in 1971. And of course, looking at where we've been and where we are right now, the number of wetlands are actually decreasing in terms of drying up. And looking forward, we are seeing that this number of wetlands are decreasing because of the impact of climate change. Human activities are also, such as of exploitation of resources. We've seen how issues of sand harvesting is also affecting our wetlands. And of course, looking at in the future, we might be able to look at a case where we do not have wetlands. We are looking at dry countries, and even the word water scarcity is going to go beyond calling it water scarcity to now a situation where we do not have enough water.
Kabisa, completely.
Yeah, completely.
So to you, we're losing the battle. All right. Now, they say the theme for this year is wetlands and people. But how are Kenyan communities directly affected by wetland conservation or destruction? I know you've touched on economic activities such as tourism and agriculture and so on. But can you give us perhaps a case study of an area that's been deeply affected either by the destruction of wetlands or by the conservation of them?
Well, I'll give an example of an area that we, as an organization, Africa Water Ambassadors, we've been able to highlight the issues in this specific river. So I'll give an example of River Kibos.
River Kibos is in Nyanza,
Kisumu,
in Kisumu.
Yeah, in Kisumu. And we participated in a campaign called the Journey of Water campaign that is spearheaded by the World Wide Fund Kenya. And we participated in this.
Sounds interesting, the Journey of Water.
Yeah, the Journey of Water campaign. So basically this campaign is normally tracking the issues that this river is, going through, but rather tracking the journey of this river, basically journey of water. So along the way, we work with stakeholders and identify some of the issues and the pressing issues that this river is, going through. And we are able to see communities carrying out unsustainable practices, for example, sand harvesting. And we are able to see how that is also destroying our riparian zone, and looking at how do we also give these communities sustainable livelihoods to be able to move forward. We just don't condemn them for the practices that they're carrying out, but also give them an alternative. Now, when it comes to now giving, when looking at a conservation aspect of view, we are looking at how do we also promote, alternative livelihood, and we're thinking of fruit trees. And a good example is planting the fruit trees along this riparian zone and replacing that with now their sustainable practices called sand harvesting, like I mentioned, that we had identified.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Now, we're heading into the home stretch of this conversation, but I wouldn't want to let you go without you telling us a few things that are quite critical, if we may. So quickly, as well as you can, is Kenya's environmental policy or Kenyan environmental policies, are they strong enough to protect our wetlands? And if not, what key changes would you make?
Well, when it comes to wetlands, I think we are falling short of the policies. And even I came to realize that we actually just adopting an initiative called the Freshwater Challenge. It's a global initiative, but countries are just beginning to adopt it.
Now,
so we actually, right now. So we are looking at the speed at which we are carrying out, or rather we are adopting these policies at a slow rate, but also the impact at which we are being impacted by the impact of climate change is also at a very faster rate. So I'm looking at again, understanding how we can also be able to work together with the national government, supporting them to be able to implement this initiative that are just, these policies that they're coming up right now, and even looking at some of the gaps that we have and identifying how do we move forward with these policy gaps, giving solutions to them as well. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, one more thing. You've talked about policy, you've talked about national government, county government, and big organizations such as the one you're working with. But what can you and I, the regular Mwananchi, the people who are watching us at home, what role can ordinary Kenyans play in terms of conservation of wetlands? Well,
when it comes to, we talk about the roles, let's even take, we bring this conversation home. In a few days, we're having the World Wetlands Day. This is an opportunity for the normal Mwananchi to be able to take part in the conservation of wetlands.
Okay.
And it will be happening at Ondiri. This is a good opportunity for a champion, even a non-environmentalist who have not even been able to have be part of this conversation, to be able to start seeing how we can be able to work together as a whole of this society to be able to look at providing solutions to these, these issues that are talking about our wetlands, sinking and all that and drying up.
So if someone is asking, what can I do? What would you tell them in 3 words?
Well, I'll give an example of digital advocacy. This is just as simple as putting a hashtag on your social media, identify the issues, and also propose what we can do as a government, as a community, as a young people. These are resources that are just here with us. We can be able to leverage on what we have at the moment, and it doesn't take much for you to be able to do it.
All right. Thank you, Wambui. As I leave you, if you had 30 seconds to convince a skeptic, someone who doesn't believe in all these things, the climate change things and all, you have 30 seconds to convince them about why wetlands deserve urgent protection. 30 seconds. What would you say? And there's your camera. Speak to them. They're out there.
Well, thank you so much, our audience. for me, I would like to give a challenge. The resources that you see around you are what you benefit from, either socially, economically, or environmentally. And this is an opportunity for you as a person to be able to see how you can be able to take up initiatives, for you to be able to support even the local government and even CBOs that are working in your area to be able to work around protecting our wetlands. These are resources that you should be able to see as attach a value to it for you to be able to see that you don't just the current generations that are benefiting from it, but also the future generations.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Wambui. I appreciate you.
For having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, World Wetlands Day. It is happening on the 2nd of February, just a few days from now. And I believe you've been properly convinced as to why we need these resources. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we will have some sporting action for you. And later on, your weekly turbocharged sporting action show, VAR, in a moment. Thank you.
Wow.